Elon Musk is on a mission to save free speech. The billionaire tech tycoon is battling governments around the world in a bid to save free speech on his social media platform X. The notoriously disagreeable CEO is refusing to budge on calls to censor content from Brazil and Australia, with governments from these countries going to extreme lengths to hold Elon Musk and X accountable. Sky News All-Stars Peter Stefanovic, Liz Storer and Caleb Bond take a look at Elon Musk's latest battles. Elon Musk versus the government of Australia. It's not a sentence you hear often, but it's very real. The tech giant is currently at loggerheads with the Australian government for refusing to remove graphic and violent content of recent stabbings that took place in Sydney, explains Sky News All-Star Peter Stefanovic.
A stoush between Elon Musk and Anthony Albanese. I'm not sure many people would have had that on their bingo card at the start of the year, but here we are. And joining us live now is the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese. Prime Minister, good to see you. Thanks for your time, and I promise you we will get to the trek in just a moment, but I want to ask you about Elon Musk. He's mocked you this morning for choosing censorship and propaganda over free speech and truth. What's your response to that?
Well, this is a bloke who's chosen ego and showing violence over common sense. I think that Australians will shake their head when they think that this billionaire is prepared to go to court fighting for the right to sow division and to show violent videos which are very distressing. He is in social media, but he has a social responsibility in order to have that social licence. And what has occurred here is that the E-Safety Commissioner has made very sensible suggestions. Other social media companies have complied without complaint. But this bloke thinks he's above the Australian law, that he's above common decency. And I tell you what, I say to Elon Musk that he is so out of touch with what the Australian public want. This has been a distressing time. And I find this bloke on the other side of the world, from his billionaires' establishments, trying to lecture Australians about free speech. Well, I won't cop it, and Australians won't either.
The Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, explained the current situation, saying there is a court order in place that Elon Musk and X must abide by.
So what happens if the vision in question here isn't taken down?
Well, of course, there is a court order has been put in place. It's a sensible proposition. No one is above the law. Not Elon Musk, not any Australian citizen. When it comes to operating here in Australia, he has a business that gives him a lot of profit, and I just find it extraordinary that this bloke thinks he's above the law and above common decency. This shouldn't be a matter of the law. It should be a matter of people doing the right thing.
Can you get a meeting with him, or should moves be made to speak to him? Would you be even interested in that?
Well, I think our position is very clear, and Mr. Musk has made his position clear. This bloke thinks he's above everyone. Well, that's not the way that Australia operates. And we have sent a clear message across the board. Politicians in Australia across the political spectrum are backing the E-Safety Commissioner. And they're backing the E-Safety Commissioner because she's acting in the interests of common sense and in the interests of common decency.
Does the fact that he does not care though, does that show how weak laws are to try and stop him from doing what he's doing?
It shows how arrogant this bloke is. That's what it shows. But we'll continue to pursue. He had a loss in the legal system last night with this interim decision. and we will back the E-Safety Commissioner, as I'm sure every parliamentarian will. And Mr Musk should be very conscious of the fact that Australians are united on this issue.
And it seems even the opposition is against Elon Musk, with the Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister Simon Birmingham slamming the billionaire.
Let's bring in the Shadow Foreign Minister Simon Birmingham now. Simon, good to see you. Thanks for your time this morning. So who are you taking in this war of words between Anthony Albanese and Elon Musk?
I think it's a pretty clear message for social media companies, and that is that there's one law in Australia. Everybody should comply with law in Australia. And our law has been built on the basis of Australian values and Australian standards, which are that we don't want our children or other Australians exposed to dangerous, violent online content. And we do expect social media platforms to be able to use their immense technological power and prowess to be able to remove such content. You think about what social media companies are able to ram down your throat through their algorithms and targeted content, they definitely have the capabilities and power to remove this stuff and do so much faster and more comprehensively than they choose to do so.
But instead of being scared, Elon Musk is using the recent drama as content on X, posting comical memes and calling out the E-Safety Commissioner of Australia. He said, "Our concern is that if any country is allowed to censor content for all countries, which is what the Australian E-Safety Commissioner is demanding, then what is to stop any country from controlling the entire internet? We have already censored the content in question for Australia, pending legal appeal, and it is stored only on servers in the USA." This isn't the first time Elon Musk has run into trouble with Australia's E-Safety Commissioner. The ex-CEO was being chased for unpaid fines as recently as February of this year, reveals Sky News All-Star Liz Storer.
Interesting backstory. So she used to work for the old Twitter, right? So she has a personal vendetta against the new Twitter. She left when Elon Musk, champion of free speech, took over, and so she keeps going after him. We know last year she slapped him with that fine of over $600,000.
Yeah.
He hasn't replied or paid. This has been going on for almost a year now. It was February of last year that she's like, "Oh, we're levelling him these fines. And if he doesn't get back to me," she said she's going to make it $782,000 a day, which she'll back pay. She'll make sure that he's charged that every day since February of 2023. Of course, Elon Musk does not give a flying rip about this unelected bureaucrat screaming on the island of Australia because, once again, she has this personal vendetta.
And it's not only Australia who has a problem with Elon Musk. Brazil recently had a similar stoush with the billionaire, reveals Sky News All-Star Kayla Bond.
Moving on to a story we talked about last night, which was Brazil trying to tell you what you can and cannot read, on Twitter, which is, of course, now called X. The intervention of not only by the government in Brazil, but by the judiciary as well to restrict Twitter accounts so people in Brazil cannot read this content. Now, we weren't able to reveal to you last night who was supposedly going to be banned from posting on Twitter, and of course, Twitter is now challenging this edict. We can now tell you that it is sitting politicians and journalists that the government in Brazil has been trying to censor. Elon Musk, very much to his credit, is standing up against this. Here is him explaining what was asked of them and why he's not going to take it lying down.
The final straw is we were being given demands to suspend sitting members of the parliament and major journalists. And moreover, we could not tell them that this was at the behest of Alexander Morales. We had to pretend that it was due to our rules of service. And that was the final straw, and we said no.
Now, this is obviously the first step to dictatorship. Once you start telling the media and social media what they can and cannot publish, you are directing people to think a certain way. Elon Musk has now said they're not going to adhere by these court directives and they are going to do what they want and face the consequences later, and good on him. But we shouldn't think that this couldn't happen anywhere else. Now,